phone on my desk rang at exactly 2:15 p.m. "Lisa, there's a Mike here to see you," the receptionist said. My blood turned to ice. My hand froze on the mouse. Mike. The name echoed in my head like a nightmare I thought I'd escaped. I don't know any Mike," I managed to say, my voice barely a whisper. "Are you sure?" she asked. "He says he's Mike Rogers, and he's very insistent about seeing you." My heart pounded so hard I thought it might burst through my chest. It couldn't be him. Not here. Not at my safe place. "Tell him to leave now," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I don't want to see him." I heard muffled voices through the phone, then the receptionist came back. "He's gone, but he seemed upset. Are you okay?" No, I wasn't okay. Mike Rogers had found me, the man who made my life hell at my last job, the boss who drove me to quit everything and start over in a new city. He knew where I worked now. And that terrified me more than anything. My hands were still shaking when I knocked on Diane's office door, but her assistant, Janet, opened it instead. "Oh, Lisa, perfect timing. I was just about to email everyone. Diane's promotion went through, and we're getting a new department head today." My stomach dropped. "Who?" I asked, though somehow I already knew. Janet checked her notes. "Mike Rogers. He starts this afternoon. HR fast-tracked him because he was so eager for the position. Even took a pay cut to get it." The room spun. I grabbed the doorframe to steady myself. "No," I whispered. "That can't be right." Janet frowned. "Do you know him?" I couldn't answer. My worst nightmare was becoming reality. Mike wasn't just here by accident. He'd deliberately gotten himself hired at my company. He'd tracked me down and inserted himself into my life again. "Lisa? You look pale. Should I get you some water?" Janet asked. I shook my head and stumbled back to my desk. This wasn't coincidence. This was calculated. Mike Rogers was going to be my boss again, and this time I had nowhere to run. I sat at my desk, staring at my computer screen without seeing it. Then it hit me. 3 weeks ago, I'd posted about my new job on LinkedIn. I was so happy, so proud of landing this position. Mike had commented, "Congrats, dear." That single word, dear, had made my skin crawl. I'd blocked him immediately, thinking that would be the end of it. How stupid I was. He must have seen the company name before I blocked him. He'd used that information to hunt me down, to apply for a job here, to become my boss again. I pulled up my LinkedIn on my phone. His profile was blocked, but I could still see our mutual connections. Several people from my old company. Any of them could have told him more about where I worked. My hands clenched into fists. I was done running, done letting him chase me from job to job, city to city. This was my life, my career, my safe space. He'd invaded it, but I wouldn't let him win. Not this time. If he wanted a fight, I'd give him one. But this time, I'd be ready. 2 years ago, I walked into TechWorks Industries for my first day as a marketing coordinator. My boss, Mike Rogers, greeted me with a too-wide smile and a handshake that lasted too long. "Lisa, welcome to the team. I've been looking forward to having you here," he said, his eyes scanning me in a way that made me uncomfortable. I brushed off the feeling. Maybe I was just nervous. At the morning meeting, he introduced me to everyone. "This is Lisa, our new star." I handpicked her myself from dozens of candidates. He put his hand on my shoulder as he spoke. The touch felt possessive, not professional. Later, he called me into his office. "I want us to be close," he said, leaning across his desk. "Not just boss and employee, friends, maybe more than friends." He winked. I forced a laugh, pretending I thought he was joking. "I believe in keeping work relationships professional," I said carefully. His smile faltered for a second, then returned even brighter. "Of course. But I'm here if you need anything. Anything at all." I left his office feeling uneasy. I told myself I was overreacting. I had no idea this was just the beginning. Within weeks, Mike's behavior escalated. He required me to notify him personally whenever he received an email. "I need you to be my eyes and ears," he said. If I stayed quiet during meetings, he'd criticize me for being antisocial. If I spoke up, he'd interrupt and correct me in front of everyone. "Lisa needs to learn to be more of a team player," he'd say with that fake, concerned voice. He started demanding personal information. "Tell me about your family. Your friends. What do you do on weekends?" When I kept things vague, he'd pout. "I'm trying to mentor you, but you're so closed off." One day he mentioned my older brother James by name. I'd never told him about James. My blood ran cold. "How do you know about my brother?" I asked. He smiled. I like to know my team. Is that wrong? He started showing up wherever I went. The coffee shop I visited before work, the gym I used during lunch, always with an excuse. What a coincidence, he'd say. But I knew better. He was watching me, learning my routines, making sure I knew he could find me anywhere. My coworkers started acting strange around me. Conversations would stop when I approached. People would ask oddly specific questions about my weekend plans, then report back to Mike. I overheard Janet talking to another colleague. Mike says Lisa's not a team player. He's concerned about her attitude. But I was doing good work. My projects were successful. Clients loved me. The problem wasn't my performance. It was that I wouldn't play Mike's games. He had the whole office watching me, reporting on me. I felt like I was living in a spy movie. Trust became impossible. Even friendly coworkers might be his informants. I started eating lunch alone, keeping to myself, which only made Mike's narrative stronger. See, she isolates herself. I'm worried about her mental health, he'd tell HR with fake concern. He was painting me as the problem while he was the real threat. I documented everything in a private journal at home. Every comment, every incident, every creepy interaction. But I felt powerless. He was the boss. I was just an employee. Who would believe me? The breaking point came on a Thursday morning. I'd made a tiny error in a client presentation, mixed up two numbers that didn't affect the outcome. Mike exploded in front of the entire team. This is unacceptable. How can we trust you with anything? He shouted, his face red. You're careless, sloppy, and clearly not committed to excellence. My hands shook. My voice cracked as I tried to apologize. Tears burned my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Not in front of everyone. He continued for 15 minutes, tearing apart my work, my character, my professionalism. People stared at their shoes, uncomfortable but silent. That night I typed my resignation letter. The next morning I stormed into HR. Mike Rogers is harassing me, I said, laying out dates, incidents, witnesses. The HR manager looked uncomfortable. These are serious allegations. We'll need to investigate. But her tone told me nothing would happen. I placed my resignation on her desk. I'm done. I won't work for that man another day. I walked out of TechWorks Industries and never looked back. I thought I was free. I was wrong. After leaving TechWorks, I rebuilt my life from scratch. I moved across the state to a new city where Mike couldn't find me. I took a month off to recover, to remember who I was before he tried to break me. Then I found Innovate Solutions. The interview process was refreshing. Diane, the department head, was professional, respectful, and genuinely interested in my ideas. When she offered me the position, I nearly cried with relief. For 6 months, I thrived. My confidence returned. I made friends at work. I started sleeping without nightmares. I even began dating again, something I couldn't imagine while working under Mike. My apartment felt like a sanctuary. My job felt like a blessing. I was finally free to be myself without looking over my shoulder. Every morning, I'd walk into the office with a smile. Every evening, I'd leave feeling accomplished and valued. I thought I'd left Mike Rogers in the past where he belonged. I thought I was safe. I thought wrong. Mike's first day as our new department head was a performance. He swept into the office like he owned the place, shaking hands and flashing that same fake smile I remembered. When he reached my desk, he paused dramatically. Lisa, what a wonderful surprise. Everyone, Lisa and I worked together before. She's a rock star. You're lucky to have her. My skin crawled at his praise. I forced a smile and muttered thanks, playing along while my insides churned. He conducted his first team meeting like a motivational speaker. I believe in collaboration, open communication, and building strong relationships, he announced. My door is always open. I wanted to scream. I knew what his open door really meant, but I kept quiet, professional, controlled. After the meeting, coworkers approached me. You're so lucky to have worked with him before. Sarah said, he seems amazing. I nodded, unable to trust my voice. Mike had already started spinning his web. He was painting our past as positive, setting himself up as the good guy, and I was trapped in his narrative once again. The meeting invite popped up on my screen. One-on-one alignment, Mike and Lisa. My stomach twisted. I declined it immediately. Within minutes, Mike appeared at my desk. Lisa, we need to catch up. Align our expectations. His voice was friendly, but his eyes were cold. I'm quite busy with the Johnson project, I said, not looking up from my screen. He leaned closer. You always overreacted to things. I just want us to work well together. Can't we be professional about this? The word professional from his mouth was laughable. But other people were watching. I had to be careful. I'll check my calendar and get back to you, I said coolly. He straightened up, his jaw tight. Don't take too long. I'd hate for your reluctance to cooperate to affect your performance reviews. There it was. The threat wrapped in corporate speak. He walked away, but I felt his presence lingering like a bad smell. He was testing my boundaries, seeing how far he could push. This time, I wouldn't give an inch. Mike began his subtle campaign to undermine me. He reassigned my interesting projects to other team members to give them growth opportunities. He added me to endless, pointless meetings that ate up my productive hours. During team lunches, he'd drop personal comments. Lisa doesn't like social events. She prefers being alone. When someone invited me to happy hour, he'd interject, "Oh, Lisa's not really a drinker. She likes to keep to herself." He was painting me as antisocial, difficult, not a team player. The same playbook from before. When I contributed ideas in meetings, he'd say, "Interesting perspective, but let's consider more collaborative approaches." He'd then present my idea as his own 10 minutes later. My coworkers started giving me strange looks. The friendly chatter decreased. People stopped inviting me to lunch. He was isolating me again, turning the team against me without them even realizing it. But this time, I was documenting everything. Every comment, every reassignment, every subtle dig. I saved emails, took screenshots, made notes with dates and times. I wouldn't be caught unprepared again. The knock on my apartment door came at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. I looked through the peephole and my blood froze. Mike stood in my hallway holding a folder. I cracked the door open with the chain still on. "How do you know where I live?" My voice was sharp with fear and anger. "Just wanted to discuss some work matters," he said casually, as if showing up at employees' homes was normal. "I thought we could talk more freely here." "Get out," I said. "This is inappropriate." He moved closer, putting his foot against the door. "I know you're lonely, Lisa. Living alone in a new city, no family nearby. I could be a friend. Move your foot or I'm calling the police," I said, my voice steady despite my racing heart. He stared at me for a long moment, then stepped back. "Think about what you're doing, Lisa. Think about your career." After he left, I deadbolted the door and pushed a chair against it. Then I ordered pepper spray online with overnight delivery. He'd crossed a line. He wanted me to know he could reach me anywhere. But he'd also made a crucial mistake. The next morning, I went to an electronics store and bought a small digital voice recorder. The clerk showed me how to use it discreetly. "Recording someone without consent is tricky legally," he warned. "Check your state laws." I researched that night. My state allowed single-party consent recording. As long as I was part of the conversation, I could record without telling Mike. I started carrying the recorder everywhere, activating it whenever Mike approached. I practiced turning it on smoothly, keeping it hidden in my pocket or bag. Within days, I had recordings of his comments, his threats, his inappropriate suggestions. "You'd advance faster if you were more cooperative," he said during one interaction. Another time, "I miss our late-night work sessions at TechWorks, just the two of us." Each recording was saved to multiple devices and cloud storage. I created a detailed log connecting each audio file to specific dates and incidents. My lawyer friend from college had given me advice. Document everything. Make it undeniable. I was building my case. This time, I wouldn't rely on just my word against his. Mike escalated his professional attacks. He removed me from the high-visibility Patterson project, citing workload concerns. Instead, he assigned me to data entry, work far below my skill level. "I'm worried about Lisa's stress levels," he told the team. "I want to ensure she's not overwhelmed." He started scheduling my performance reviews weekly instead of quarterly. Each one found new areas for improvement that hadn't existed before. He questioned my judgment in front of clients. He forgot to include me in important emails, then blamed me for being out of the loop. My work was suffering, but not because of my performance. He was sabotaging me systematically, creating a paper trail that would justify firing me. But I kept recording. I saved every email, every changed assignment, every performance review. I also quietly reached out to former colleagues at TechWorks. 2 agreed to provide statements about Mike's behavior there. The pattern was clear. He'd done this before. I wasn't his first target, but I was determined to be his last. The breakthrough came during a private strategy session Mike scheduled. I had my recorder running as always. He closed his office door and sat too close to me on the couch. "I need you to know something," he said. "I didn't take this job for the money or the title." He paused, staring at me intently. "I took it because I had to see you again. After you left TechWorks so suddenly, I couldn't stop thinking about you." My skin crawled, but I stayed silent, letting him talk. "I know you feel it too," he continued. "This connection between us, that's why you react so strongly to me. You're fighting your own feelings. I'm here for work, Mike. Nothing else," I said clearly, making sure the recorder caught every word. His face darkened. "You always were stubborn, but I'm patient. I got this job just to be near you. Do you understand what that means? How far I'm willing to go?" I understood perfectly. He'd just confessed to stalking me across state lines, to taking a job specifically to harass me, and I had it all on tape. That evening, I called Diane at her new executive office number. She sounded surprised but pleased to hear from me. "Lisa, how's everything in the department?" I took a deep breath. "Diane, I need to tell you something about Mike Rogers. It's serious." I told her everything. The harassment at TechWorks, him showing up at my apartment, the recordings I'd made, the confession about taking the job to stalk me. Diane listened in horrified silence. When I finished, she was quiet for a long moment. "Lisa, I am so sorry. I had no idea. Why didn't you tell someone sooner?" I was scared. He's good at making me look like the problem, but I have proof now. Recordings, documentation, everything. "Send me what you have," she said firmly. "I still have connections in corporate. This is beyond unacceptable." "But Lisa, these things take time. Corporate moves slowly." "I know," I said, "but I'm not backing down this time." "Good, keep documenting everything. And if you ever feel unsafe, call me immediately. Day or night." I hung up feeling a tiny spark of hope. I wasn't alone anymore. The next morning, I stepped into the elevator at work. Just as the doors started closing, Mike slipped in. We were alone. The elevator suddenly felt like a coffin. I pressed myself against the back wall, my hand on the recorder in my pocket. Mike stepped closer, invading my space. "You don't have to be so cold," he said softly. "You know how I feel about you, how I've always felt." The elevator ceased to move in slow motion. Only 6 floors, but it felt like eternity. "Stop," I said clearly. He moved even closer. I could smell his cologne, the same overwhelming scent from TechWorks. "We could be so good together," he whispered, "if you just stop fighting it." The elevator dinged. 4th floor. The doors opened and 2 people from accounting got in. Mike stepped back smoothly, transforming into the professional boss. "So those quarterly reports need revision," he said casually, as if we'd been discussing work. My hands were shaking. I got off at my floor without a word. Behind me, I heard him chatting normally with the others. I rushed to the bathroom and locked myself in a stall, trying to stop trembling. The recorder had caught everything. The team meeting that afternoon was another performance by Mike. He praised everyone's work enthusiastically, except mine. Then he turned to me with that fake, concerned expression. "Lisa has shown remarkable composure under pressure lately," he announced. "It's not easy adapting to change, but she's handling it well." The words sounded like praise, but I heard the threat underneath. He was warning me to keep quiet, to play along. Several coworkers smiled at me sympathetically, clearly thinking Mike was being supportive. They had no idea what his words really meant. "Lisa's always been resilient," he continued, "even when things get personal." He emphasized the last word, his eyes locked on mine. I forced a smile and nodded, playing my part. Inside, I was seething, but I couldn't react. That's what he wanted, for me to lose control in front of everyone. After the meeting, Sarah approached me. "Mike really seems to care about your well-being," she said. "You're lucky to have a boss who's so invested in his team." I just nodded, unable to trust my voice. Mike had turned his harassment into public concern. He was brilliant at manipulation. But I was getting better at the game too. Mike called me to his office the next day for a quick discussion about the Mitchell account. I turned on my recorder and brought a notepad, acting like this was normal. He closed the door behind me. My skin prickled with warning. "Sit," he said, gesturing to the chair across from his desk. Instead, I remained standing near the door. "This will only take a minute," I said. His face darkened. He stood and walked around the desk toward me. "We need to talk about us," he said. "There is no us, Mike. This is a workplace." He reached for my wrist. I stepped back, but he grabbed it anyway, pulling me toward him. His grip was firm, painful. "Stop pretending you don't feel this too," he hissed. His breath was hot on my face. I could smell coffee and something sour. My free hand found the pepper spray in my pocket. "Let go," I said loudly. "Now." He pulled harder. I felt his other hand reaching for my waist. That's when I acted. The pepper spray hit him directly in the eyes. He screamed and stumbled backward, crashing into his desk. I ran out, my own eyes watering from the fumes. "You're done," I said as I left. I went straight to my desk and typed up everything that had happened. My hands shook as I attached the audio files, the elevator, the confession, and today's assault. I sent it all to HR with the subject line, "Formal complaint of assault and ongoing harassment." Then I forwarded everything to Diane with a note. "He attacked me. I defended myself. I have it all recorded." HR responded within an hour. "We've received your complaint. We'll investigate accordingly." No urgency, no concern for my safety, just corporate speak. But Diane called immediately. "Are you okay? Do you need medical attention?" "I'm fine. Shaken, but fine." He grabbed me, Diane. He wouldn't let go. "This changes everything," she said, her voice hard with anger. "Assault is a criminal matter. Have you considered filing a police report?" "I want to handle it through the company first," I said. "But if they don't act?" "They'll act," Diane said firmly. "I'm calling corporate legal right now. And Lisa, start working from home immediately. Don't go back to that office until I tell you it's safe." I packed up my desk and left, wondering if I'd ever feel safe at work again. Days crawled by with no word from HR. Mike remained at work, conducting business as usual. My coworkers texted, asking why I wasn't in the office. I couldn't tell them the truth yet. Mike sent a team email. "Lisa is taking some personal time. We wish her well and look forward to her return." As if nothing had happened. As if he hadn't assaulted me 3 days ago. I worked from home, logging in remotely, completing my assignments. But I felt like a ghost, present but invisible, excluded from meetings and decisions. Sarah called me privately. "Mike seems worried about you," she said. "He mentioned you've been under a lot of stress. Are you okay?" The narrative was already forming. I was the unstable one who'd overreacted. He was the concerned boss. Classic Mike. I kept my voice neutral. "I'm fine, just handling some personal matters." After we hung up, I checked my email again. Still nothing substantial from HR. But there was a message from an unknown corporate address. "Your documentation has been forwarded to senior leadership. Please remain available." Something was happening behind the scenes. I just had to be patient. The call came at 8 a.m. sharp from a number I didn't recognize. "Miss Carter? This is Patricia Williams from Corporate Legal. I've been assigned to review your case." Finally, someone with authority was listening. We talked for over an hour. She asked detailed questions about both TechWorks and my current situation. I sent her all my documentation, recordings, emails, witness contacts. "This is comprehensive," she said, sounding surprised. "You've built quite a case." "I learned from last time," I said. "When I left TechWorks, I had no proof. Not making that mistake again." "I've spoken with Diane as well," Patricia continued. "She's been very vocal about the urgency of this matter. Between you and me, she's made some waves at the executive level." "What happens now?" I asked. "We're launching a formal investigation. Mike Rogers will be interviewed, along with witnesses from both companies. This level of documentation, especially the recordings, makes this very serious." "How long will it take?" "These things typically take weeks, but given the assault allegation and the evidence you've provided, we may be able to expedite." For the first time in days, I felt hope. Mike found out about the investigation. I heard through Sarah that he'd been called into multiple meetings with HR and legal. His demeanor changed completely. The charming facade cracked. He started making mistakes. Sarah told me he'd exploded at a junior employee over a minor error. He'd accused the IT department of spying on him when they did routine maintenance. Paranoia was setting in. He began rewriting performance reviews, trying to create a paper trail against me. But Diane had already secured copies of my original reviews, all glowing. His retroactive changes only made him look more guilty. "He's scrambling," Patricia told me during a follow-up call. "He submitted a counter-complaint claiming you're unstable and violent, but the evidence doesn't support his version." "What about the pepper spray?" I asked, worried. "Self-defense," she said firmly. "The recording clearly shows him grabbing you first. You asked him to stop. You had every right to protect yourself." The investigation was moving faster than expected. Mike's own actions were accelerating his downfall. He couldn't help but reveal his true nature when cornered. The final piece came from an unexpected source. A former employee from TechWorks named Rebecca contacted corporate legal. She'd seen news of the investigation through professional networks. "He did the same thing to me 3 years ago," she told them. "I have emails, texts, even a police report I never filed." Then another woman came forward, and another. Mike had left a trail of victims across multiple companies. Each one had stayed silent, thinking they were alone. My case had opened the floodgates. Corporate moved swiftly. Mike was suspended pending the investigation's conclusion. Security escorted him from the building. His keycard was deactivated, his email access revoked. I watched the security footage later. Patricia thought I deserved to see it. Mike argued, threatened, even tried to push past the guards, but they were prepared. As they let him out, he looked directly at the camera. The mask was completely gone. His face was twisted with rage, but underneath, I saw fear. He knew it was over. His pattern of abuse, carefully hidden for years, was finally exposed, and it was all because I'd refused to run this time. 1 month later, I sat in Diane's old office, my new office. The nameplate on the door read Lisa Carter, Director of Marketing Operations. The promotion came with a substantial raise and, more importantly, the respect I'd always deserved. Mike Rogers was fired for cause, losing all severance and benefits. The company's investigation found gross misconduct, harassment, and assault. He was blacklisted from the industry. Legal charges were pending. I heard he'd left the state. Rebecca and the other women from TechWorks also got closure. Some pursued legal action. Others simply felt validated that they weren't alone, weren't crazy, weren't at fault. The company implemented new policies for harassment reporting and investigation. They named it the Carter Protocol, a systematic approach to documenting and addressing workplace abuse. I still carry pepper spray. I still record important conversations. Some habits born from trauma don't fade easily. But I sleep better now. As I looked out my office window at the city skyline, my phone buzzed. A LinkedIn notification. Someone named Jennifer Davies had messaged me. "I just escaped a toxic boss situation. Your story gave me courage. Thank you." I smiled and typed back, "You're not alone." And it does get better. The cycle of abuse ends when we stop running and start fighting back. Mike thought he'd destroyed me. Instead, he created his own downfall. And in facing my fear, I found my power.